Alrighty, guys, we are back with chapter 10 of 21, Night Prince Once Burned. Let's get right to it, see what we got going on. Things in Vlad's castle have been in a state of frenzy since the attack on the club. The arrival of enemies bold enough to attack Vlad on his home turf is a new situation entirely. Both now that the remaining of the attackers have been gathered, it's time to begin a counterattack. To use my powers to find whoever was responsible. While you prepare, all your anemones and clothes have been moved into your new room. As you admire your wardrobe options, a knock sounds on the door. Hello? The door opens to reveal Maximus, who promptly drops to one knee. No apologies are adequate for my leaving you in danger. I have failed you, Amber. Is Vlad going to be angry? I'm just glad you survived. We'll have to be more careful. We'll have to be more careful in the future. I'll be nice. We will. Before we had no idea that Vlad's enemies had grown bold enough to attack him there. Now we know to be on our guard, even while at home. Where did you go after the fighting ended? I thought the silver-haired one took you. He escaped while I fought the others, so after I attacked them, I chased after him. He survived? I'm afraid so. I should have searched the bar instead of chasing him. You almost burned to death because of me. Maybe I deserved to. I didn't act when Hunter was in danger. Now because of me, he's dead. Your life was in danger. You did your best you could. Maybe. We can spend the day piling on guilt, or we can make it right by catching the bastards. Let's get them. Take me to those other vamp bones. You really should eat first. I guess you've got a point. I'll be using more of my powers soon after all. I can't count on Vlad's blood being the main thing to sustain me. But you want to. You've just about finished a large helping of eggs Benedict when Vlad strides into the dining room. You look ravishing as always, Amber. We can flirt when we've caught the men trying to kidnap me, so to you, I'm ready to find let's do that, I'm ready to find the puppet master. And somehow, with that, you look even more beautiful. Shall we begin then? The sooner the better. Maximus, come. We're ready. Maximus enters the dining room as Vlad sweeps your now empty dishes aside. The fire caused the building to collapse, so this bag contains random remains, but some are bound to be your attackers. Bag. Maximus empties the bag onto the table. Various charred human bones spill out. Look at this. We got some bones. Which should I start with? I think I'm going to start with the bones. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to choose the bones. Dance club, past. As your hand touches the bones, images of a laughing girl named Tanya stream across your mind. The same girl who brushed your hand in her panic to get out and who you shocked to the ground by mistake. You dropped the link. I should never have gone to the club that night. If I'd stayed in, maybe that girl would still be alive. No, Amber. Her blood is on my hands. She was killed by my enemies. Even if you touched her out of sheer carelessness, without that attack, she would have survived. Don't worry, sins that aren't yours. Don't worry about sins that aren't yours. Thank you for saying that. I still feel partially responsible. The puppet master is truly the one to blame. I'll do that. Indeed. All the more reason for us to catch him promptly. As you reach out to touch the next skull in the pile, more colorless images flood your mind. The skull belonged to a vampire decapitated by Maximus, one named Cordon, and seeing his worst sin makes bile rise in your throat. You do your best to push past it, as well as his death, to see desperately what happened before that. Finally, after several minutes, you catch a scene that seems promising. Well, we got here a carpet past. We don't know where it's at. Cordon and the silver-haired vampire receive orders from a distinguished-looking man. Oh, look at that. I think I've got something. Two of the vampires from the attack are getting orders, but I don't understand the language. I'm fluent in dozens of languages. Repeat whatever you heard. The boss speaks rapidly, and the language isn't easy to replicate, but you give it your best shot. Then he leaves the room, and you drop the link. Well, well, well. I believe you found our elusive puppet master. What was he saying? You were missing a few words, but I heard enough to determine that surveillance equipment in town alerted them to your presence. Once you were spotted, and his men were told that if they couldn't succeed in returning with you, they were to kill you. Do you have any more questions? I'm gonna go no. Before I wanted to catch this guy because then I'd be safe. Before I wanted to catch this guy because then I'd be safe. Now I want to make him pay for everything he's put me through. Tell me more, and you'll get your vengeance. Do you know where he's located? No. The surrounding was no use, wall-to-wall concrete, and not much else. Maximus finds out who the world's best sketch artist is and have him here by dawn. Understood. Maximus departs without another word. Is there anything we can do in the meantime? I'm going to pay Jackal another visit. Jackal, the vampire who kidnapped me with his gang while I was rehearsing at the circus? He's still alive? Of course. Where do you think Sharp Nail has been this whole time? I had no idea he'd been torturing Jackal this whole time. I believe with your powers we might learn something more useful than what we've learned so far. I should stay here alone. I'm too afraid to face Jackal. He might kill me. Vlad eyes you over. Disappointing, though, I suppose it's to be expected. I guess there's still a lot about this life I'm not used to. Perhaps, though, I suggest you get acquainted with more unpleasant aspects as quickly as you are able. I should have went there, but I didn't want to spend the gems. With some time to kill, you make your way back to your room, looking to rest before meeting the sketch artist. Probably going to have to use my powers pretty continuously to give a proper description. However, your vampiric lover has something other than rest in mind. Fancy running into you here. What's up? Shouldn't you be working? Not much to do before the sketch artist arrives. So I'm guessing we have a free moment? Oh yes, and I do hate wasting time. Particularly when something more pleasant can be enjoyed. You're looking to do something carnal. Without question. He tears off his clothes, not waiting for you to respond. You're up against the wall before you even realize what's happening. Hot breath trailing down your neck. There's something I've been meaning to try. His fingers trail down, stopping between your legs. I want to see how long you can go without climaxing. I wager you won't last 5 minutes. You want to see how fast you can make me climax. I'm going to do I'd rather not. How you like that? Oh. He seems surprised but doesn't push it. Your own hands trail his torso, barely able to stay away from his length. It isn't hard for the mind reader to tell what you're thinking. I see. You'd rather mix things up. Test my own endurance. See how long I can resist your touch. Wow. I should turn him down. It ain't happening. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, then perhaps We can finish this the old-fashioned way. My bed awaits. My goodness, is this all this is? I'm turning him down, people. He looks disappointed but says nothing further about it. Very well, I will respect your wishes. Thanks, I just have a lot on my mind right now. Of course, I'll make sure someone comes to get you when the sketch artist has arrived. A few hours later, a knock on your door rings out. This time, Charbonneau is the one to come get you. Maximus and the sketch artist have arrived. They're ready for you in the library. Great, I'll head that way right now. The two of you reach the stairway landing when Vlad appears. Good morning, Amber. He plants a kiss on your lips with a smile. It's like we've never even done nothing yet, people. And he's doing all this other stuff. Good morning yourself. Charbonneau, let it be known that henceforth no one needs my permission to tell Amber where I am or where anyone else is either. If she has a question, answer it. You turn in time to see Charbonneau bow first to Vlad, then to you. With that, he walks away, disappearing into one of the many rooms in the house. What was that about? I guess we are ready. I guess we really are official. I'm going to do what was that about. My people will now treat you with the utmost respect. Just because we're together? It's an honored position. Very few have caught my eye to the extent you have. You're the first to sleep in the room adjoining mine. Is that to stop me from seeing visions of your previous lovers? You've never been this close with anyone else? Let's do that. He's hesitant. He hesitates. Once when I lived in a different home, but that was many years ago. Come, there's much work to be done. The sketch artist's name is Jillian. She awaits us in the library. Vlad gives you a slight flourish to her as you enter. Madame Lesvolia. Happy to make your meeting, Amber. Nice to meet you. It's clear from her appearance that the woman in front of you, all is human, which begs the question, how did Vlad convince her to work with us? She's mesmerized, Amber. Oh, okay. She won't hear anything that we don't want her to. That seems unethical. She will be returned to her home safely when all this is concluded. In the meantime, we acquire her services to catch the mastermind. We should probably get started. I'll describe him better if I'm holding the bones. Jillian pulls out a large pad and several charcoal pencils. Vlad grabs the bag. Okay, I've got to focus and make sure that I describe the puppet master as best I can. You reach out to take the bone from Vlad, following the trail back to where you saw the puppet master before. Past. Puppet master. He has short dark hair, square jaw. An hour of describing and drawing later, Jillian hands you her pad. Is this him? Yes, it is. That's pretty close. You pivot the picture so Vlad can see. Vlad, do you recognize him? He takes a moment to look at the picture of his brows drawing together. The only person I know that this picture resembles died a long time ago. Oh. Well, it's not an exact replica. I'll keep looking through the bones. Maybe there's a detail or two about him that I can describe better. Vlad calls Maximus into the room and hands him the picture. Make a copy and show it to Jackal. Find out if he's encountered this man before. As you wish. Maximus hands the drawing to a man at the door and says something in Romanian. You turn to Vlad. Haven't you already gotten everything out of Jackal you're going to get? Vlad gives you a shrug. Call it delusions. My father would love you. My fathers don't. Most fathers don't. Well, mine's a retired lieutenant colonel who swears that waterboarding is an acceptable interrogation technique. Another shrug from Vlad. Fire works better. Speaking of your family, I have a secure number you can give them. You should contact them soon so that they don't worry and report you missing. I'm not exactly close to my family. Guess it can't hurt. I'm not exactly close with my family. Let's do that. If they live and aren't out of your blood, I am sure they will still appreciate the news. Out of my blood. Vlad's smile is gone, his expression now flickering between regret and cynicism, whatever. Sometimes families bring no peace. The way he talks makes you think that a troubled family life might be yet another thing you and Vlad have in common. I bet Vlad and I could bond over our shared family troubles. Well, let's do that. Let's do it. Why not? You had a rough life, I take it? Vlad's lips curl into a terrifying smirk. You could say that. On many occasions, my younger brother tried to kill me. Once he thought he succeeded, but I was past mortal death by then. His mouth twists. Despite this, when Raudu died, I mourned him. Did you have a good relationship with your family? Alexander, my elder brother, was always good to me. When he was killed, I butchered those responsible. What about your parents? My father was murdered as well for his land and his power. As for my mother, I was an illegitimate child. I never met her. My father feared her presence in my life would have disrupted my chance to rule. Still, I like to believe she at least died peacefully. Family is always irreplaceable, even when they're also irreconcilable. What's that saying? Irreconcilable? I can't say it. Anyway, irreplaceable. I'm sorry. Irreplaceable. Irreplaceable, yeah, that sums up my mother. My Aunt Brenda took over raising me when my mom died. Not your father? He was often transferred all over the place as part of his duties as a lieutenant. Staying with my aunt helped stop Gretchen and I from having to uproot our lives every few months as well. Aunt Brenda was one to break the news to my dad that something strange had happened after my accident. You shake your head in a vain attempt to clear the memories away, finally setting on changing the subject. The man the picture reminded you of, the one who's dead, could he have a relative who looks like him? Or with a grudge against you? He has no biological family left alive. Are you sure? He's been a vampire for over 100 years. When he died, it was impossible for him to father children. Well, what if he didn't die? The man who ordered an attack on you just happened to resemble a vampire you used to know. What if he's still alive and he's not? Vlad's smile is chillingly pleasant. Mihaela, whatever, was the first person I ever burned to death. And there it is. That's the end of that. Well, alrighty, guys. That's the end of Chapter 10. As always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys, as always, tomorrow with Chapter 11. Give that video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Toodles!